So let's talk about your art a little bit, and I'm sure we'll kind of weave in and out of it. But it's if I look up right now, I'm literally looking above my monitor from you to Dionysus. It just happens to be on the wall, like right behind me. Your piece that I bought a couple years ago now, and just to share work, how I came across your work, is I have a coach, therapist, mentor here named Ed Fell. That he had a few of your pieces. I don't know if the name rings a bell because
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
bought a few
yeah.
of your pieces, but he's
Sure.
yeah, you know that. So he's an incredibly deep man. I met him through an organization called the Mankind Project, and which I did some incredible shadow work with. And he just brought his some of your drawings out during one of the sessions, and they all struck me immediately for how beautiful they were. But like the Dionysus one was like, I was just like hit like a tidal wave by it, and all I could say is that's me, and I didn't even know what that meant. And at that time, I was still caught up in the Catholic worldview that I was brought up in. Not that I was a practicing Catholic, but just like the only thing I understood when I saw horns was bad, evil, demon. But so there was like an immediate conflict from my like my stories about what that was, and this like this sense of identification with it. And so I immediately went home and just bought my own version of the print. And see, I knew a bit about Dionysus, but only I'd never really studied the myths or really knew much about Dionysus from like, the actual history. The only access I had to it was as a symbol through reading Nietzsche, through the birth of tragedy. I don't know if you're familiar with where he talks. Have you familiar with the birth of tragedy
No, not so much. No.
in Nietzsche?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, Nietzsche's one of his like most famous works, Birth of Tragedy, is about how in early Greek times, tragedy, which was the type of play that would happen on the stage, was when a single person would come out onto the stage, a single actor, and there would be a chorus in front of the stage, and then beyond that would be the audience. And the actor would do something improvisational, and then the chorus would respond, and the actor would respond to that. And so the actor kind of represented order, and the chorus represented chaos.
Mm.
And so Nietzsche said that the single actor represented Apollo, and that the chorus represented Dionysus. And it was the arc of tension between these two poles that created tragedy. And he talked
Right.
about the death of tragedy being as they started adding more and more actors to the stage, and they started shrinking the chorus until it disappeared, and they removed the Dionysian aspect from the
Mm.
tragedy. And that was also reflected in Greek culture as they removed the Dionysian aspect from culture. And he said that's basically what's happened throughout the centuries up until today. And I think that it's continued, where Dionysus was basically removed.
Mm.
Even in your recent email, and I think, where you're talking about like the importance of festival. And I also read something about Charles Eisenstein recently around that same theme. It's like the cost of that we're really feeling right now. So anyway, that was my exposure to Dionysus, but I never really knew the imagery, until I saw your piece. And I've always been fascinated with bringing kind of chaos back in and that arc of tension since reading Nietzsche. That's always felt true for me.
Mm.
But I wasn't really aware of the kind of the sexual element of it, right? Like the fertility side of it. It was more just like the chaos is what I was relating to it through.
Mm.
So that opened me up massively to understanding more of the energy that I've felt my whole life